Are you Deputy Walker by chance?
Yes, I am.
Sheriff-elect Jim McDonald, Kathy and Megan McDonald, please come forward for the badge presentation. It's now my privilege to recall to the podium the District Attorney of Los Angeles County, the head of the largest prosecutorial office in the United States. Head of the largest prosecutorial office in the United States, District Attorney Jackie Lacey, who will administer the oath of office.
Raise your right hand. I, Jim McDonald, during such times as I hold the office of the Sheriff of Los Angeles County, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. Congratulations, Sheriff.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this.
Congratulations, Sheriff.
Well, thank you very much, Jackie, for that gracious introduction. You've been an incredible friend throughout this extraordinary journey that I never would have imagined I would find myself on. I look forward to the close working partnership that we'll be able to forge in the years ahead. Today, I've taken the oath to support and defend the Constitution.
Man, you guys are aggressive for First Amendment protected activity.
I'm going to teach you about the First Amendment.
You're telling me you're doing the same thing you're telling me I can't do. I'm going to keep filming the courthouse, though. You can't trespass my eyes.
You bugged a conversation between a lawyer and his client. Now that's violating one of the most sacred rights of privacy.
The deputy's on his hands and knees over there, looking up under the dash, under the steering wheel, under the floor mats, and he's in the center console.
As the 32nd Sheriff of Los Angeles County, these words bind me to a long history dating back to the first generation of peace officers.
But if it helps the law,
who brought the rule of law to an unsettled territory.
The law can't use this kind of help.
There are guidelines to the conditions that video cameras / media can be confiscated. These policies were clearly violated by Deputy Ryan Walker on the day of my arrest.
Because whether a man is guilty or innocent, we have to find that out by due process of law.
I also believe that the Los Angeles Sheriff Department policy concerning video camera confiscation was violated by Detective Stephanie Barragon when she repeatedly refused to return my property after receiving a written letter and numerous phone calls requesting the return of my video camera and SD card / video footage.
They also bind me to every one of the over 18,000 dedicated men and women of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department.
You work for me, sir.
I don't work for you, sir. I don't work for you, sir.
To them, let me be clear. Today, I am here to commit myself to the future of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department.
Excuse me? Can you say that again? Who do you work for? Who do you work for? Are you a public servant? Are you a public servant? No.
That future, our future, will close the door on divisions and factions.
That's right, I'm a joke, and you're the butt.
Just because someone doesn't give you the answer you want doesn't mean it's not the right answer. Oh, stay away from me. You're a criminal, and I think you're going to shoot me. Look at, a criminal. What a coward. Why are you holding your stuff?
It is a future that will be built upon the bedrock of this department's values.
I'm approaching you because of my safety.
Deputy Ryan Walker aggressively and unprofessionally approached me while being armed and displaying what appeared to be a law enforcement issued AR-15 assault rifle.
Where are we done talking?
Integrity, accountability, and service.
You arrest photographers unlawfully and take them to jail.
They don't have any body cams or anything like that.
No body cams? So
I took your point to jail, though.
That's exactly my point.
I'll work for you, sir.
Integrity.
Deputy Walker, this isn't concluded. You have a chance to restore any integrity you might have had.
I'm going to say to you, you have no integrity.
I have no integrity?
You have none.
It's more than just a job well done. It's our character.
You are impeding in my investigation.
Our ethics.
Deputy Ryan Walker was laughing and had my video camera in his hands. He was playing back the video that I had recorded of our encounter earlier that day.
Last time he approached a photographer, insulted the gentleman, arrested him, took his camera. 6 months later, the camera is nowhere to be found.
In our commitment to humane treatment of those under our authority and care.
Deputy Ryan Walker proceeded to place me in extremely tight handcuffs.
You got 4 innocent people in the trunk of your car there?
Essentially, it's who we are.
I was told to shut up and that I talk too much by the female jailer.
How's it feel to be a black man
They're in the trunk.
detaining black people who are innocent?
Accountability. We'll stand tall and account for what went well.
You are absolutely free to file a complaint, but it's not really complaining, it's more stating your view of what happened, right?
I was wondering if I can file a complaint on Deputy Walker.
We already have the complaint on him.
Oh, well, can I file one myself if that's okay?
What didn't and how we can improve.
Which is why we have a date.
Against his conduct of what pertaining what he did to me that day.
Of what?
For what?
Both individually and collectively.
Okay, you guys, the judge told us to bring you in.
Great, I love this. I love this.
I asked Deputy Walker and other deputies on location to loosen the tight handcuffs due to the pain.
How we treat people will define us every bit as much in the eyes of our community as the results that we achieve.
I was repeatedly insulted and called dumbass by Deputy Ryan Walker.
Right now, you're a suspect of a crime, right? I get that we have different views.
For the last 3 decades, I've been privileged to devote my life to the service of others.
I'll work for you, sir.
We must ensure that in fighting crime, all of us, and particularly new deputies, do not lose sight that their first job is to defend and uphold the Constitution.
Can we talk later about this?
And we must continuously earn the trust of our community through our actions, through accountability and transparency.
Is Deputy Ryan Walker still on active force or still on active duty, or?
I can't. He has a right, the Peace Officer's Bill of Rights. I can't discuss his discipline.
And through ownership of the good news as well as the bad.
Why do you have an out-of-control officer on duty arresting people for under the First Amendment right?
Oh, we don't, sir.
Oh, you don't?
And let me be clear that as your sheriff, I want to hear both the good news and the bad news. I will make personal integrity in the service of constitutional policing the highest value of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. When ethical or legal lines are crossed and our standards are not met by employees of any rank, action will be taken. To District Attorney Jackie Lacey, thank you for your friendship and your leadership in working toward a smarter criminal justice system. And to Sheriff John Scott, thank you for steadying the ship these past 10 months. I could not imagine a more dedicated steward from whom to be accepting this baton of leadership. Thank you, John. And also a special thank you to my family, my wife Kathy, my daughters Kelly, who's not able to be with us, she's back east at school, and my daughter Megan, who was able to be here today, for their patience. Thank you.
Can you delegate to another human being a right you don't have?
No.
Our founding fathers wisely wrote that to preserve our nation's precious hard-fought rights.
Can 2 people delegate to a right to another human being that neither of them have?
No.
Governments are instituted among men.
Can 1 billion people delegate to another person the right that none of those billion people have?
No.
Deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed.
Consent of the governed. There isn't such thing. If it's consent, it's voluntary. If it's being governed, it's not.
As this timeless message reminds us, whatever authority we have as a government,
the cops really and truly believe that they have the right to do things that I don't have the right to do and you don't have the right to do,
is granted to us and derived from our citizens.
The only reason most of them do what they do is because they believe in authority and they really believe that legislation gives them an exemption from morality.
And intensely aware where my authority comes from.
If people can't delegate rights they don't have, people in government can't have rights I don't have, which means they're not authority.
We must never lose sight of that.
Can you ever be obligated to do what you think is wrong? The reason that makes the concept of authority explode is what it boils down to is, I, this human being, should obey the authority until I decide I shouldn't. Well, that means you're above it. It's not your master anymore. Just stay above it.
You, our citizens.
That first step is always the hardest, to get someone to dare to set aside his blind faith long enough to think about things.
Nobody imagines mafia to be authority. They're big, they're scary, they have the ability to hurt people, the ability to scare people and take your stuff, but nobody thinks it's righteous and legitimate. Nobody calls them government.
Thank you all very, very much.
When that changes, the world changes. Until then, revolutions don't do any good. You knock it over, we'll put up another one, because as long as people still believe that government can be legitimate, they'll bicker over who should sit on the throne and what kind of throne it should be, you know, parliament or a Congress or a king or whatever. When people give up the belief that one man can ever have the right to rule another, it ends, and it ends forever.